Story No 1. The thing that stood outside every apartment I've ever lived in. I've moved 6 times in the last 12 years. Different cities, different buildings, different floors. Studio apartments, shared houses, a high-rise once when I was working in the city. 6 completely different places, no common thread between them except me. In every single one, within the first few weeks of moving in, I would see it standing outside. The first time I was 23, new to the city, 3rd floor of an older building. I woke up in the middle of the night and looked toward the window, the way you do in a new place when you're still calibrating the sounds and light, and there was a shape outside. Too tall to be a person standing on the ground below. Too still to be anything moved by wind. Just a dark shape, outside a 3rd floor window, where nothing should be able to stand. I told myself it was a shadow. A trick of the streetlight and the curtains. I closed my eyes, and when I looked again, it was gone. I moved to a different city 2 years later. New apartment, 4th floor. 3rd week there, same thing. A shape outside the window. Same height. Same quality of impossible stillness. Gone when I looked too directly. By the 3rd apartment I was paying attention. I started checking the window before I went to sleep. Nothing unusual on any of those nights. But twice during that year I woke up, and it was there. The shape. Outside. At the glass. And both times when I turned on the lamp, it was gone before the room was fully lit. I started to understand something about it during the 4th apartment. It didn't come every night. It came when something was about to change. The first time I saw it there, I got a call the next day that my father was in the hospital. He recovered. But it was serious. The second time, I lost my job the following week. The third time, a relationship ended badly. I don't want to say it predicted these things. I don't know if that's what was happening. I only know that in 4 separate apartments in 3 separate cities, the shape appeared outside my window a small number of times, and each time something significant happened in the days that followed. In my 5th apartment, I saw it once. I spent the following week waiting for something to go wrong. Nothing did. It was, as far as I could tell, an ordinary week. That bothered me more than the others. I'm in my 6th apartment now. I moved in 8 months ago. I've seen the shape twice since then. The first time, nothing notable happened in the following week. The second time was 3 nights ago. I'm still waiting to find out what the second time means. I've thought many times about what it is, whether it follows me or whether it exists everywhere, and I've simply learned to notice it. Whether it means something, or whether I've constructed meaning from coincidence the way humans always do. But I sleep with the curtains open now. I want to see it when it comes. Whatever it is, it has been with me for 12 years across 6 homes. That's longer than most things in my life. I've stopped being afraid of it. I'm not sure what I feel about it instead. Story Note 2. My identical twin came to my door, but my twin was with me. My sister Claire and I are identical twins. We are used to confusion, people mixing us up, doing double takes, the standard experiences that come with looking exactly like another person. We've never found it particularly strange. It's simply how our lives have always been. What happened on the night of her birthday is not something I can explain with any of that context. We were at my apartment celebrating her birthday, just the 2 of us. A low-key evening, takeout, and a movie. She was sitting on the couch across the room when someone knocked on my door. I got up to answer it. I opened the door, and Claire was standing in the hallway. Not a woman who looked like Claire. Not someone I mistook for Claire in a moment of confusion. Claire, her face, her hair cut exactly the way she was currently wearing it, the birthmark on her left collarbone visible above the neckline of the shirt she had on. The same shirt she was wearing on the couch behind me. She was smiling. Not Claire's usual smile. Something slightly different about it. Something I registered immediately as wrong, without being able to say precisely why. I turned around. Claire was on the couch, staring at the door. She had gone completely pale. I turned back to the hallway. It was empty. The hallway is straight, well lit, maybe 30 feet to the stairwell door. The stairwell door was closed. The elevator at the other end was closed. There was nowhere to go in the time between me turning around and turning back, not quickly enough to disappear. The hallway was simply empty, as though no one had ever been standing in it. Claire was at my side immediately. She had come off the couch without me hearing her move. She stood in the doorway beside me and looked at the empty hallway and said nothing. I asked her if she had seen what was at the door. She said she had seen herself standing in the hallway. We stood there for a moment. Then I closed the door and locked it. We didn't finish the movie. We didn't talk about it much that night. There didn't seem to be anything useful to say. We sat with the lights on until it was late enough that calling it a night felt reasonable, and then Claire called a car and went home. She called me the next morning. She said she'd been thinking about it and she wanted to tell me one thing she hadn't mentioned the night before. She said that when she looked at the figure in the hallway, at herself standing at my door, the smile was wrong. She said it was her face exactly, but the expression didn't belong to her. She said it looked like something that had learned what a smile was from a description rather than from ever having felt one. I've read about doppelgangers. The folklore, the reported experiences, what different cultures have said about them over centuries. Most traditions treat seeing your own double as an omen, a warning. It has been 2 years since Claire's birthday. Neither of us has seen it again. Neither of us has stopped thinking about it. We don't talk about what it might have meant. Some questions are better left sitting in the dark, unanswered, rather than dragged into the light where you actually have to do something with the answer. But on her birthday every year I check the hallway before I open the door, just to be sure of who's standing there. Story No. 3. The town we drove through that wasn't on the map. 4 of us drove cross-country the summer after college. 2 cars, a loose route, no strict schedule. The kind of trip you can only do when you're young enough to have that kind of freedom and old enough to appreciate it. We took turns leading, stopped when something looked interesting, shared a road trip playlist that we still talk about 10 years later. The town happened on day 4, somewhere in the middle of the country on a state highway we'd taken to avoid construction on the main interstate. It appeared gradually, the way towns do when you're driving through flat country, first a water tower on the horizon, then a gas station, then buildings clustering along the road. A main street, a diner, a post office, a few blocks of houses on either side. The kind of small American town that looks like it could exist in any decade from 1955 onward. We stopped for gas. Both cars pulled into the station, an older place, 2 pumps, a small attached store. The attendant was an older man, friendly enough. He helped with the pump, made small talk, waved us off when we left. We drove through the rest of the town. It took maybe 3 minutes at a slow pace, and got back on the highway. An hour later we stopped for lunch at a larger town and pulled out the road atlas. This was before any of us had reliable data service in rural areas. We wanted to figure out how far we were from our next planned stop. We couldn't find the town we'd driven through. Not the name. We'd seen a sign entering it, and I'd noted the name specifically. It simply wasn't on the map. Not as a small unincorporated community, not as a historic site, not as anything. The highway we'd been on was there. The towns before and after were there. The place we'd stopped for gas was not. We assumed it was a map issue. Old atlas, small town, probably just not included. We didn't think much of it. That evening, at a motel, we tried to look it up online. The name returned nothing. Not a Wikipedia stub, not a local news result, not a mention in any context. We searched the highway and the approximate mile marker. Nothing. We searched for the gas station. Nothing. One of us, my friend Jay, who was more methodical about these things than the rest of us, spent an hour that evening on satellite map images of that stretch of highway. He found the highway. He found the towns before and after. At the coordinates where the town should have been, based on the time and distance we'd driven, there was nothing. Open land. Fields on both sides of the highway. No water tower, no buildings, no gas station. We went back the next day. We retraced the route exactly. Same highway, same direction, same speed. There was no town. Fields. Highway. The same flat country we'd driven through in both directions. No sign, no turnoff, no buildings on the horizon. I've talked to all three of the others about this over the years. Our memories are consistent. The water tower, the diner, the post office, the gas station, the attendant, the small talk. 4 separate people with the same detailed memory of a place that leaves no record of existing. I've told myself the map was wrong and the satellite images missed it somehow, which is not impossible for very small rural communities that predate modern mapping. I've told myself we misremembered the name and simply can't find it because we have the wrong search term, which is also possible. What I can't explain is the return trip. The exact highway, the exact coordinates, the exact absence where something had been. I still have the atlas. The highway is marked in it from when we were planning the route. I traced our path in pencil. There's a gap in the pencil line where I lifted my hand to note the town's name on a separate piece of paper. The piece of paper is gone. I don't remember losing it. The gap in the pencil line is still there,